Alright, Chapter 2 summary. In this chapter, you learn that the batteries are widely used for the source of the direct current, where we were individual electrochemical action works with the cell of the type of the part, the cell of the how, the cell of the thing together of the four. Batteries have learned the construction and maintenance of the batteries, some of the safety precautions, handling, working with the batteries. Also, the several new terms of the entry with the chapter, the following summary with the chapter on batteries. The cell of the device to transform chemical energy into the electrical energy. Cell have three parts: electrode, electrolyte, and the container. The two basic cells are primary and secondary electron flow. The zinc and the carbon electrode, one anode, one cathode. The sulfur oxide, the hydrogen atoms, electron flow. Electrode is over the carbon, the current conductor for the cell. Electrolyte, the solution with the acts upon the electrode, the container, the hydro. Hopefully, the electrolyte provided with the means for the mounting with the electrode, the primary cell with the chemical action final destroyed on the electrode. The negative of the primary cell cannot be recharged. Secondary cell and cell with the chemical action altered the electrode, electrolytes, and electrodes and electrolyte can be restored with the original condition and recharge of the cell. Also, this showed the solution charge of sulfuric acid, H2O, and HUO and hydrogen sulfide, hydroxide sulfide, sponge lead peroxide, changing the discharging of the sulfuric acid, decreasing water, increasing load from the negative to the positive electrode. They also give you the charging increasing sponge, lead decreasing lead sulfite with lead sulfite with plus lead increasing lead peroxide leading sulfite lead oxide. Show the sulfur oxide increasing water decreasing goes in the solution from the positive to negative to go to the charging. And discharging show the minimum sulfuric acid, maximum water solution. There is no the minimum sponge lead, maximum lead sulfide and sulfate and lead, minimum lead, maximum lead sulfite and lead peroxide. Electrical chemical action. The process of converting the chemical energy into electrical energy. The anode of the positive electrode of the cell, the cathode of the negative electrode of the cell, the primary cell of the chemistry positive electrons leave with the cathode to the lobe of the cover, the positive charge of the electrical, negative ion with the electrolyte. The negative ions combine material with the cathode to form the substance of the lead sulfide. Electrons of the lobe of the anode create the negative charge, but they attract the positive ions, form the electrolyte. So this is I think it's a dry cell, negative terminal, positive terminal, negative terminals, cathode, positive anode, sealing wax, zinc container of zinc, negative electrode, wet paste electrolyte, carbon rotor, positive electrode. Secondary cell chemistry is positive electrode actions upon the chemical chain with both electrodes, process depletes the amount of the activity material with the electrolyte, change with the car, apply with the call to reverse and process to restore with the original condition, polarization, effect of the hydrogen sun around the anode cell with which increase the internal resistance of the cell. Polarization can be prevented by bending of the cell with avoiding the material rich in the oxygen and adding the material with the absorbent hydrogen. Local action with continue with the current flow with the cell with no external load with the call with the impurity of the electrode can be prevented. Use of the mercury amalgamated with the material with the electrode. Your dry cell is typically referred to as a flashlight battery since the electrode is not liquid in by type of the dry cell is used. Most dry cells can be used the cause. Show the positive terminal anode, negative terminal cathode, expansion chamber, depolarization mixture, zinc can seal, cover the asphalt, asphalt saturated paper gasket, asphalt saturated insulation washer, carbon electrode paste coated pulp board, separated chipboard jacket. Shelf life: the period of cells that can be stored, the period of the cells may be stored and still be usable. Mercury cells should never be stored because of the danger of explosion. Round anode flat, double cell top of the outer canvas of wood, zinc anode with the absorbent with the alkaline electrolyte, inner canvas sealed cell, grommet adapter sleeve, retaining ring barrier, mercury oxide depolarization cathode. Dry cells have many of the types of advantage and disadvantage of the type of select, but it depends on the factors cost, size of the replacement, and the voltage of the current need. The lead and acid of the cell must be like the secondary cell of the lead acid produce the electrochemical action with the anode lead peroxide cathode sponge leave, the electrolyte sulfuric acid and water. Alright, nickel cadmium cell called the NiCad or nickel cadmium cell, following the advantage of the lead acid discharge with a short period of time that delivers a large amount of power, stays idle longer, can charge the discharge many times. The anode nickel hydroxide cathode is a cadmium hydroxide electrolyte, potassium hydroxide, and water. Alright, show the contact table of the terminal, seal the terminal vent and killer cap of the case in a separate plate. With the silver cell, zinc cell, also most commonly emerging equipment, a little smaller and has large power capacity with the side of the anode. Silver oxide, the cathode is zinc. And the electrode is potassium hydroxide water. The silver cadmium cell with the combined with the better feature of the nickel cadmium silver zinc cell with the anode silver oxide with the cadmium hydroxide electrolyte potassium hydroxide batteries voltage source with a single container with a made from one or more cells. The cells can be combined series parallel, or series parallel. This shows the regular battery with a vented plug terminal post filler cover, opening cover the plate strap with the container, negative plate, the separator case, the ribs, positive plate, link kit, connector, terminal connector, and terminal post. Okay, your series connected provided with a higher voltage single cell will not increase the current. Show the load 1/8 of an ampere, 6 volts. Parallel connected cell with the provided higher current with a single cell with no increase. The voltage shows that you have 4 volts at connected at 1.5 amps at 1.5 volts. Loaded. Series parallel connected to provide higher voltage, high current with a 1/8 of an amp, going up to 1/2 an amp and 4.5 volts. Loaded series parallel connector. Type of the batteries can be determined by the name of the plate with the data of the hydrometer provided with the name means the check with the specific gravity with electrolyte. This is a hydrometer. Specific precautions should be also filed when working with it around battery's capacity, indication of the current supply capability of the battery, specified era timer, and 400 ampere hours. The rating of the capacity of the battery, specific rating and change. In most batteries, rating is given the 20-hour discharge of the 20 amps for 20 hours. Battery charging process reversing current flow through the battery to restore the battery to original condition. Additional activity ingredient, the electrolyte will not charge the battery. There are 5 types of charges: the initial charge, normal charge, equalizing charge, floating charge, and fast charge. Gassing the production of hydrogen gas causes the proportion of changing charge current breaking the dome with the water electrolyte steady gas within the normal during the charging process. The violent gassing indicate that the charge of the rate is too high. And that completes the summary of Chapter 2. And that's the whole, this has been a reading of the non-resident training course, September 1998, Navy Electronics Training Series, or Neets, Model 1, Introduction to Matter, Energy, and Direct Current, Navy Trad 14173. Approved for public and release distribution unlimited.